everyone, this is part 2 of the motor rebuild video, and I hope you all enjoy it and take something away from it. Alright, so what you are going to do now, you have a nice beautiful looking motor. If you keep it in good shape, usually they're not too scuffed up, but usually they should not have dents in the outer aluminum parts. You're going to see a bearing here with the shaft pointing through it. And there's going to be screws. There should be 4 screws. There should be one on the top next to your cables on the left, one next to them on the right, one next to 2 on the bottom. So what you're going to do is, if you have a heat sink, slide that off. Take your 1.5 millimeter wrench, just like this. And you are going to just loosen up each screw and take it out and put it in a safe place. After you've taken your screws out, it should look like this. No more screws there. And a quick tip is, if you don't always have space, you just have space for a motor cap, just leave the screws in the motor cap like that. Because if you set it on a flat surface, they're not going anywhere. Now, you're going to want to remove your pinion gear on the front here. There's a little worm screw. Now, you can leave that in the motor cap as well. Because you don't want to be losing this now. So they are durable. You just little tap like that. Take that off. You should have this bearing in it. On this, there should be a little yellow collar. Don't lose this. This is important. Helps with the flow in the motor, I believe. And you take those, set them in a nice place. Now next, you're going to want to have this. Now, the pliers can come in handy because a shaft like that, till I click. You're going to pull it out, just like that. And next, what you're going to do, safely but not damagingly, remove that from that. Highly magnetic, so it's going to try and stick to anything like that. Don't let it damage itself. Keep this safe, maybe in a container or a jar that has no metal parts in it, so the camera to zoom. But there's a bearing down at the tip of that motor. Now, you can kind of see it in here. Yeah, you can see it right in there. What you're going to do is set it down like this. Take your regular pliers. Just kind of massage it in there until you hear it fall. Then you lift this up. You've got your high-speed bearing out. Now, most people are going to think that regular Traxxas bearings you'll find in your wheels are like these. They are not. This motor on a LiPo, a 3-cell LiPo battery, can reach 50,000 RPM. Well, I read that. That's not fake information, okay? I'm not fake news. But if you change those out, it can make it so it doesn't hit as much RPM. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the bearings and clean out the case with a little bit of WD-40 and a shop towel. And I'll put that in time lapse for you. Now, in one of the previous videos, I mentioned how I had those 2 motor kits, right? Well, that's for if you blow a bearing, which can happen pretty often if you don't maintain it. If your shaft breaks or something on the motor, which, by the way, this is the motor shaft, and or if you just basically want to do a revamp to for like an RC race or something, which I have not entered it in any official RC races yet. So everything in this motor seems to be looking really nice, and I think I can just clean it out, re-lube it, and I think that'll be good. So when lubing the bearings in the motor, I usually like to use a really nice mixture of oil. I use this oil, 107, medium weight, and I don't know if you can read that on the screen there, but I'm going to pull that up. Maybe you can put the video on pause to try and read that. I can't really pronounce that. I think it's label. And I use that on it. It's really good. It was recommended to me by J&M Hobby House, my bad. I am anxious today. Shout out to J&M Hobby House for that. And I use this Trinity, I think it is. You can also use that. And I mix these two, just a drop or two of each on each side of the bearing, and like roll the bearing around on your finger to get that rubbed in. And that's gonna lubricate that bearing and get it ready for some nice hard use. So a lot of people might be asking, well, how do we put the bearing back in the motor? Well, it's kind of a 50-50 scenario. What you do is you kind of like have to get it threaded like this onto your plier, and you kind of stick it kind of into the motor and then let it drop into place. And then from there, you just try and push it in. And the other way I can do it, if that doesn't work, is you can take your highly magnetic motor shaft, thread it onto that, and then controllably get that straight down in there. You can like do that, and then a little push. And yeah, you saw the oil fall over. This is a hard thing to do. If you can't do it the first time, like the first time I did this, I was stressed out of my mind. Well, it's okay. Just take some deep breaths. I mean, after a while, it gets easy. So you put the yellow thing back on like that. Next, you're going to put on your thing right here, your motor cap. And what I like to do to add a little bit of a touch, because if you send it to like Traxxas or something, and you want them to really think that you treat their vehicles well or something, for some reason, to get a new motor, because I sent them my original motor to be traded in for this, and they saw it, and it looked really good. So wipe that off with a little bit of WD, shine it up a bit. And then on top of that, if you want a really nice powerful motor, not the other oil, just this one, like a drop or two on the inside motor, like that. And then once you seal it up, you can spin it around a bit in your fingers. It's hard. I'm doing it right now. Just get that oil around. And then, if you have like, say, a AA battery or something, and you have some way to hook it up to your Traxxas slash, just give the motor a nice little warm-up. Not hooked into the transmission, just let it get used to the oil. Get it moving around. And if you gun it first try, you might overheat the motor, and you can risk it getting permanently damaged and stuff. So, yeah. From now, you just do the reverse of what you did before, basically. Stuff into that old oil and stuff. And, yeah, just nice and shiny. And just like that. Make sure it's nice and on. Then, take your pinion gear, and you can slide it on any way you want. And then next, I will show you what happens. Do is use one of your Traxxas batteries. I am not a LiPo user. I am full nickel metal hydride right now. Only LiPos are single cells on drones. And I'm never really using that many drones. So plug it in. Turn on your receiver before you turn on your ESC. Then you can turn your ESC on. Plug in the motor soon, but gotta give it a little spin, test it. It feels really good, which they should be perfectly stiff. But if it feels decent, plug it in. Okay, it's not really gonna jitter if you have a good ESC. So just low throttle will show you. Here's my throttle. As soon as it starts feeling warm, take it off. Turn off everything. And I will show you how to install the motor by video time, because I am going to do a little bit extra tomorrow, which if it gets hot too fast, maybe take that motor cover off and loosen up those 4 screws just by like one turn on maybe diagonal ones. Alright, see you later. To check your motor is you can take anywhere from a paper towel, just a strip, and then you can spin it. And just nice and gently, slowly. And it should not bind, but it can have this nice little trail. And it's not really binding it together, which is good. And the black part is because I have oil on it to make limited noise. Thanks for watching. This was part 2 of the motor rebuild video. I also made sure to get some clips in there. I made one clip, obviously, where you can hear the motor so that you can know that it can have better RPMs. If you did enjoy, please give us a like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next time.